Hey everyone, welcome to Play Casket. This is your host Paraka, and
Ghost, your co-host.
and we're going to be on episode 3, and today's going to be a good one because we're just going to basically have Ghost here shit on Sony the entire time. Just recently, to this recording, that Sony has bought Evo. And for some people who are huge fans of Sony and their brand, PlayStation, and stuff, they generally think this is a really good thing, but I think it's more that Sony's trying to control a good marketing angle.
No, I forgot about that too.
And
it was like I had so much topics I just wanted to grill them on. I was like, oh yeah, forgot about Evo. That's also another one I could add to my shit list. Man.
But yeah, no, I'm not too into Evo itself. Like, it's really interesting for fighting game fans and stuff, so I understand it.
But yeah, you'll see some cool like some cool events every once in a while.
Right.
Or, like Daigo. Was that from Evo?
Daigo.
He did the whole crazy parry with Chun-Li. Was that
Evo?
Yeah,
I think they did that way back in the day. I believe that was Evo. Yeah. And
if we're wrong, you could say in the comments. Yeah.
Yeah, and like there's been some interesting announcements at Evo and stuff too, and a lot of people think that because stuff like Smash Brothers is super popular, they think Evo would be the perfect place to announce it, where Smash Brothers is just so much more universal than that.
Isn't that what E3's for, though?
Well, E3's dying. E3's basically dead now.
Or E3. It's basically just a... It's basically
EA3.
just a... It's basically just a web conference.
Yeah, it's a web conference now. It doesn't make sense anymore. It's a dying breed. It's literally weird. And honestly, watching so many like weird Nintendo Direct wannabes, they're kind of cringy as shit. Or like Nintendo still kind of feels like, we're just here's some games. And other people are like, here's some weird montage of people looking like they're enjoying games.
Yeah.
I'm like, clearly
it's clean corporate bullshit.
Yeah, it's fucking stupid. And but yeah, so Sony buying Evo, for some people they think that, this is Sony taking the competitive scene a lot more serious. Well, technically true. I think they're trying to cultivate it to be a better image for Sony. You know, because Evo's had a lot of flack just this last year with Mortal Kombat and the Smash Brothers communities and stuff too.
Well, if Sony's running it, can't they just snub out Smash Brothers? Just like fuck Nintendo.
They
fuck
can.
Xbox.
They can easily block it out and be like, this is a Sony thing exclusive, and then they could use it as an angle to be like, hey, play our games on our PlayStation 5 and win a trip to the next Evo. And they're going to be able to land.
Fun.
Yeah, ooh. And they could easily do a lot of that. And I feel like that's where a lot of this is going to go. It's not that, we're putting a lot more money into this. It's more of, we're trying to put more money into, we're trying to invest in trying to get you guys all to just play our games exclusively. And I think it's basically Sony's way of trying to make basically an entertainment channel, like a Disney Plus and stuff. They're basically kind of doing something to that point.
They're gonna try to make it Twitch. They're gonna try to make it Twitch.
They're gonna try to make it Twitch. But the thing is, I feel like because of Sony's current corporate element and environment, they just won't do what is needed for the professional gaming community, like the competitive scene. I think it'll look good on paper and people will get excited because they think they're going to have bigger like win pots, but then they're going to realize that they're going to say one thing wrong about supporting Hong Kong and then suddenly you're gone. Like everything's gone and donated.
It should all go back underground anyways. Most of this stuff started with like it was all grassroots to begin with. And like,
well, the thing is, everything was underground. Like even video games for one point in time. That's why the whole basement dwelling nerd was basically. But more people wanted it, and that's how things become mainstream. Is more people want something.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, Sony, and all the wonderful things Sony has done to somehow promise us a great anything with this is
I don't
ridiculous.
know. I've been super nervous about Evo anyways because they've been trying to be more family friendly. It's like you're playing Mortal Kombat, a game where you rip out each other's spines, and you're like, oh, we got to make it more family friendly. And I don't know. I don't think anybody's gonna really care unless you really put in Fortnite to try to make it more family friendly.
I heard there are some ideas of being batted around for that too.
Or is Evo just gonna be non-fighting? Like was Evo always been about fighting games?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Damn, man. I don't know. I think I guess we're being too harsh on them, but fuck Sony.
No, I honestly don't think we can ever be harsh enough on Sony. I'm not sure how harsh we can be with Evo. Evo has been kind of getting backlash all the time, but Evo is becoming the most common fighting game conference out there, or convention. That's what was the word I was looking for. So I could see where the bigger you get, the more eyes are on you. Mm-hmm. The more eyes are on you, the more likely there's going to be more people in control saying, "Hey, we're getting more and more reports that you're not friendly enough, or you're not appealing to a certain group enough."
But shit talking was the whole thing of why like fighting games are so fun to watch.
Oh, and same with raging. Like watching some people rage and stuff are very entertaining, as much as I myself am guilty of a lot of stupid shit out there. It's one of those. It kind of goes with it because you're competitive. It's how it goes on. Like you see people shit talk each other in boxing rings. You see them do it in basketball courts. You see it on the field, like all sorts of times. Like you see people interviewing, trash talking and stuff one another and all that too. They not everybody's like good job and like have this weird sense of chivalry because it doesn't vibe as well. Like when you're competitive, you want to make sure like you're doing good. Yeah, you want to show off that you're better than the next person.
Well, I don't know, with the whole COVID thing too, maybe things will just go full digital.
There's so much that still needs to be done for digital before a digital thing can happen. And the thing is, I think digital will actually hurt a lot of people. People will just do it out of convenience. They're like, oh, I'll watch this later because it's digital and I'll just watch it whenever I feel like it.
Yeah.
And if I don't have a ticket to watch it later, then somebody's already recorded it and played it on something else. So it's more control in the consumer's pocket. What it pushes convention planners and stuff. It puts pressure on them to try to make more money in a different way.
Yeah, okay.
Whereas when you're doing stuff on a personal basis and where people are going to places and hanging out with one another, you can sell stuff directly to people. That's why you have like art booths and stuff at Comic Cons and stuff. You can sell somebody's art right then and there. Like there's a print of Legend of Zelda I want, and give it to me. And she's kicking, all three Battletoads' asses. This is cool. Oh wait, there's Naruto and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle crossovers. I want to buy that print too. And like you can buy it right there.
Yeah.
Like that's not something you're just gonna magically see at a digital conference because you're just gonna see the panels basically. So you're never gonna see the shop, or you don't feel like you can afford the shop, so you never shop. Like for instance, BlizzCon will have.
I don't know. Maybe we're just because it seems like the age of the convention, or at the very least, what I feel is when things go more digital, you don't really need those type of conventions anymore. I don't know. Maybe it's just me, but like anime conventions, I think they're starting to become a dying thing. Only not because of COVID, but when you go to panels, when you need to buy merchandise, a lot of the stuff you can just do it all online now. Like,
you can, but there's at the same time, like if you want to buy a certain artist merchandise, if you never met that artist, how are you even supposed to know that she even exists at that digital convention?
Surf the web.
That's exactly the point. Most people don't want to surf the web. People are upset that they would have to travel to two different social media sites now because the current climate with social media banning some of their accounts and not on other accounts. If people go, if it's not Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, I don't want to see it because they don't care to because it's inconvenient for them. They don't want to go to the bar, type in something and go, oh, that's what this is. Because several of these artists have websites that they can sell merch on.
But nobody goes to them.
Nobody goes to them.
Yeah, I missed the whole .com thing too. There's like 4 conglomerates now that do everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like that's the thing. Like this artist, some of these artists at conventions you won't know. You will never know until you run into them. Like, oh wow, I didn't realize this art here does this and this person did this and this. I actually have a couple comics now that are just freelance. She's publishing her own. They're kind of cute. They're fun to read. I would have never known about her whatsoever if it wasn't for me just walking by and some of her art caught me. And then they're like, oh yeah, she has a whole comic series. Like it ain't the best out there. It ain't the best written, but it's cheeky. It's fun to read. But I would have never known it, and it was totally worth my time.
Yeah.
You know. But if they wanted a digital convention, I'd probably just watch a couple of my panels and that's it, because it'd be convenient. Because you're there.
Yeah.
What draws you to a convention is the panels or the tournament or whatever draws you in. Right. That's what you want to see.
I guess when there's downtime too, you got to play other people. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen to Evo though.
I think a lot of Evo is gonna be overglorified. I feel like it's gonna be just kind of like how Microsoft tried to handle Mixer. Like, look how rad and crazy we are, and it didn't work out. Like, they even hired Ninja, like this huge Fortnite guy. He was supposed to like just take Twitch with his Twitch following with him, and that's it, and like be the end all. And it didn't work out.
Yeah.
With Ninja.
I'm sorry, Discord, you guys are screwed.
Discord's kind of screwing themselves over anyway.
Well, they're worth $10 billion, or at least that's what Microsoft's betting.
It's still just a rumor, though. Like we don't know too much on that yet. But I can see
it. Always a rumor.
It's always it's always a rumor. But the thing is,
I guess people are betting on it.
I wouldn't put it past them, because basically several companies would always make bids and stuff on stuff, and they're like, let's talk about stuff, and those bids might just become nothing burgers.
Okay. Like
Nintendo could have done some, which I'm not going to talk about.
Microsoft's going to screw it up, and then they're going to sell it to Facebook.
That would be a fate. I would say that.
Everybody's getting really pissed off, aren't they?
Well, people are, and I think that's the reason why we got such a load of different platforms now. Gab, Parler, BitChute, Minds. Like, we're seeing so much of these things because they're trying to find, and it's because the big titans are crumbling. Like, all these things are just falling apart, and Sony's saying, I want a piece of that, because Sony can't think 3 feet ahead of them.
Yeah.
But Sony and you have a nice, wonderful history.
Oh man, the fucking Vita. I've been so patient with them, and like, I was really, really hoping they would push the Vita. So, PlayStation Vita. No, anyway, I've been so patient with them, and it was this ultimate. It was like this. This is before phones became a real thing, so it was kind of like my media go-to device, and it was like the coolest thing. I loved it, and I could put music and videos and my games. It was like my one device for everything before phones, anyways. And they got no fucking games on this thing, and then I was like, okay, it's not bad. I still got my media, and then it came with a SIM card. I bought the 4G version because I thought it'd be kind of cool. Oh my god! And then the thing that really pissed me off was my SIM card didn't work, so I had to go to like 3 different stores to try to get my SIM card to work. And then I went to Best Buy. They had one, but they wanted to charge me for it. And like, no, the thing's supposed to be free. Went to another AT&T store. They gave me a free one. I was like, oh, thank God. And I was already like really fucking pissed to return this thing. I stuck with it. And then the memory cards are really expensive. And then they didn't support it when the PS4 came out. And I'm like, oh my God. How do you fuck this up? Like, just give me good games. I'm so.
Well, I think the problem with it is it's very similar, like how Nintendo had to do with the Wii U. They could only do so much to appeal to third parties without giving them money hats. Because think about it, if for same thing with Sony with the Vita and the PSP, if Nintendo paid people to just develop games onto their system, they could take that money, whatever money they make off of it, obviously will just go back to them, and then they use that to develop the next Madden or the next Call of Duty on other systems. And that's the same thing with the Vita and stuff. They were trying to pull this whole buy my game twice so you could play it on the go and on the system.
Yeah, but that was when they were getting like kind of desperate. Because
No, that was going on even at the beginning.
well, then where the fuck are my PS2 ports? Like,
Dude, where's anybody's PS2 ports?
yeah,
Like, honestly, like, I would still pay a good sum of money to see, like, Tokobot. Like, I don't know why. That game was actually pretty solid.
and then they kill backwards compatibility too. Mm-hmm. What the fuck is up with that?
Forcing people to buy new systems. That's basically what it is.
Well, I know, I do know it was
that way they can
lawsuit
also
thing, too.
release games like recent ports, like oh, here's the Assassin's Creed Extra Collector's Complete Edition Director's Cut EX Deluxe.
Well, what I want to know is, there was this huge lawsuit because I think the PS3 and the PS2 departments were two different departments, and the PS2 version the PS2 department had to sue the PS3 department. It was something weird like that. I don't know the full details because every time I read it, they were super vague on what the whole thing was. But aren't you one company? Holy crap, guys! Like,
well, that just tells you how big and convoluted Sony as a entertainment company is right now. You know,
yeah,
like imagine how long it probably would have took them to get the license down from the movie licenses of Spider-Man down to the video games. Like, you gotta think that there was probably a shit ton of red tape for that.
yeah.
And like took them forever to be able to even make the Spider-Man game we have now.
Like, copyright in America is horrible. Holy shit, I hate it so much.
It's bittersweet, and I think it's a lot of it's convoluted as shit.
Yeah,
But I like the fact that we do have laws that basically, if you drew a comic and then somebody took your comic characters and tried to put it in a video game, even though you weren't making money off your comic, that doesn't give them the right to do that.
I know. It's to protect the owner. It's to protect your stuff. But oh man, when you want to put your own character, if you made a video game and you wanted to use your own comic book character in that video game,
well, when you're just one company, you can still do it.
I know.
There was two different companies within Sony, and that made the red tapes. It's like, let's just go ahead and trickle it down. Didn't work out that way.
Oh man. But yeah, the PS3 too. I've been patient. I was so patient. Well, I don't know if I got anything. I didn't get a PS3 until close to the end of its life too, though. Yeah, but my sister had one. There was like nothing on it. Holy shit.
I remember buying mine day one too, because I bought into the hype. Because I actually loved a lot of what the PS2 offered. I was like excited what the PS3 is going to do, because I like the weird games. Guitaru Man, Mr. Mosquito, Tokobot again. Like, those were really fun games that come to my mind immediately. Hurdy Gurdy was another one. Like, I enjoyed them. Right? There are games that I wasn't. Words are hard. I wasn't gonna be able to enjoy it on the 64 because nobody was making stuff for 64. So there was a PS2 game, that I was gonna play. Bought a PS3 day one. I was like, all right, let's keep this train rolling, and waited a year and a half before Metal Gear Solid even came up on it, and the rest of it was like sports games and know nothings, and it was a troll fest, and it continued on even with like companies falling apart trying to develop for that system. Like THQ ported a bunch of Wii games onto the PS3. It was ports tanked the company. That's how bad they sold and how much it took them to develop the games for. Like, that is heavy. And like Midway went away. Good riddance. But
All I remember
Several
them,
major publishers at the time that were like B-class publishers and stuff kind of tanked. Like the PS3 era took a lot with them.
yeah,
And that was around the time Sony decided to start changing their marketing to just be like the brand conscious type. Buy my PlayStation or else you're not cool kid in school. You want to see how cool games are? You don't want to be left behind because you're playing Mario. They're like that's basically what it was.
yeah.
And it was like right around that time people
Well,
were just like shitting on Nintendo left and right because it was a kiddie console followed by another kiddie console followed by a casual console. And it continued on until like just recently where everyone's like, "Nah, Nintendo's all right" because like people are making money off of it. The market's
the game's
different
just
there.
good. Like,
Well,
you don't need to try to be edgy and cool because I think the PS2 hit at a really good time when everybody was kind of like, "Oh, I'm 13."
an adolescence.
Yeah, I'm 13, and just imagine if Mario had guns, and then they ate that shit up because PS2's just struck at a good time.
I want a mature Zelda. Here's Darksiders. I don't want Darksiders. I want Zelda that's mature, but on my Sony system. Like, that's not how that works. But no, like nowadays, like people who are buying PS5s right now, like the ones that are planning on playing them, not just turning around and selling them and stuff like that for $1,000. I'm talking about ones that are like buying the system. They're not buying it to play Shovel Knight.
Yeah,
They have no concern to play something like Shovel Knight.
yeah,
And even if Shovel Knight made of Shovel Knight 2, it might just be on the radar like, oh, I'll pick this up if there's no other games being released. But no, they want it for Horizon Zero Dawn 2. They want it for Miles Morales. They want it for games that are built to showcase the PS5.
and Demon
That's-
Souls.
Yeah,
They could
Demon
get
Souls.
fucked. I have a vendetta against them. Holy shit! Like, okay, so the history with Demon Souls and Sony with From Software was that when they created their games, it was so hard. It was they didn't want to push anything from Software because it was too difficult for the round eyes. So Western audience, it's too tough for Western audiences. So when they made Demon Souls, they said, "Hey, can you guys publish this?" And Sony said, "Oh no, it's a little too difficult for Westerners, so we'll put you on another project." They went around their back and went to Atlas. Atlas said, "We'll publish it because it's already translated in English, or they have English voiceovers. They just have to redo the subtitles, and they were like the Japanese text, English text, and they released it over in East Asia, and then they got published in America, or like the West, and Sony was furious, and they said, because you guys published this right behind our back, we're gonna keep the Demon Souls IP, and that's how we got Dark Souls. Dark Souls freaking killed it, and then we got Dark Souls 1, 2, and 3. And then they said, "Oh, can you come back and do a new IP for us?" Which was Bloodborne. They killed Japan Studios, and then
Oh, yeah.
so now
They
we're
just
not gonna,
did that too, yeah. I remember that.
so now we're not going to see a Bloodborne 2. Maybe we'll see. And then
They're going to flip a coin. Heads. I guess we're just making Planet Tokobot again.
oh god, but yeah, now they're bringing back Demon Souls 3 or Demon Souls 3. They're bringing back a remastered Demon Souls just to be like, hey, we're kind of cool again, aren't we? Like, no.
Look at us going back to our roots. It's the same thing with like EA doing their fucking shitty EA's originals. And it's really just they just bought like 3 independent studios that are just finishing up their games. They're like, look how cool we are. We're making original games.
Oh, man.
And then you'll never hear anything from those fucking studios ever.
Yeah.
They're going to be like, hey, whatever happened to... God, what was that game company that made Stick It to the Man? Zoink.
Mm-hmm.
They just bought Zoink and stuff, and we're gonna be like, hey, whatever happened to them? And they're gonna be like, we don't know. We had an unprecedented partnership.
Ate them up.
Yeah, the E ate them up.
But yeah, it's just they want to act like they're listening to us when we've been shouting in their faces about what we really, really want. But I don't know. Maybe we're just too fickle. But
I wouldn't say we're fickle. Like, there's things that we love about the companies we play with and stuff a lot. Like, there's a reason why I'm still a Nintendo fan to this day. It's because I fucking love Donkey Kong Country. I know I'm going to get a Donkey Kong Country game if I continue buying Nintendo stuff. Granted, a lot of other games Nintendo makes, I still enjoy. And a lot of games that, like, are indie and stuff, they do very well on Nintendo systems because their market's like that. When I'm waiting for a Metroid Prime game, not Metroid Prime, no, like a Metroid-like game, a Metroidvania, right? When I'm looking for an adventure game like that, I have games like that. I have Kunai, I have Chasm, I have Dead Cells. Really great games. One of them like won multiple awards like 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. You know, like they're really great games, and I see them a lot on the Switch. I know they're on other systems, but like I don't hear about them.
yeah,
Like it's safer to assume that once I see it on the Switch, there is a chance that they're already on other systems. Period. Right? But like I don't see them on the other systems. Like I know they're there, but I don't hear people talk about them very often. And when they talk about them, they talk about them on the PC because I own a PC and that's where some of the games I buy play.
but even then with
But
PC
I see
too,
more on the Switch. I don't know why, but that's where I see it a lot.
Well, I think it's also the store page is pretty decent because they don't flood it with.
I think Nintendo's.
indies.
I think Nintendo store page is absolute shit. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. Would you
Just
like
the
to see this
Pro.
next 6 games that you want to see? Yeah. Wait 5 minutes.
It's the hardware. We're gonna see a pro.
It's just like, hey, honey, I'm gonna take a look at these sales today on the Switch's eShop. But before I do that, I'm gonna just go ahead and load up the eShop and take a poop. And when I come back, it should be ready.
Which really pisses me off too. Fucking the PS4 or the not PS4, PS3. You guys should have kept that 1.0 store. What the fuck happened? Like it was just the 1.0 store, or like it was just tiles. So it was really easy. You just saw there was
Games.
everything, and it was all tiles. And then they updated it to the current PS4 one. Oh my god, you couldn't scroll. Every time you scroll down, the tiles would pop up, and then it'd be a couple seconds, and then it would load in. And it's like,
Oh God. Like,
yeah, unless you have the PS4 Pro, yeah, you're waiting for your shit to load into your store.
And people keep saying, like, the thing is, people are praising that for the PS5 right now. Mm-hmm. Give it time.
It'll
Because
slow down.
the same thing with the 3's shop too. Mm-hmm. Like the PS3's shop originally was pretty smooth.
Yeah.
Because there's few games, didn't have to load much, and everything was pretty like smooth sailing. And then more games came out. They did more updates to try to optimize visibility. They didn't optimize the game. They optimized visibility. Mm-hmm. And slowly but surely, it became just a bog mess. Same thing with the Switch. The Switch was actually running pretty decent on the shop when it first launched. Now they have like 3,000 fucking games on sale every other week. And it's just hard to keep up. And I understand that. That doesn't mean I have to like it.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I could almost guarantee you, because so many people are pushing for the graphical like benchmarks and stuff. They want to push the PlayStation 5's power, all really good and all this other
isn't
stuff.
Call of Duty like 500 gigs or something like that?
I believe it. I haven't checked it. I'm going to be honest.
Okay, there's a new Call of Duty that's coming out, and I think it's like 500 gigabytes.
And that's
you can't.
That's another like shitty system in practice that I'm getting really pissed off with multiple companies with. The whole
Compressor
have
shit.
to. Well, not just optimization, which is a huge thing. They could just, if you have a bigger, they should just have a bigger hard drive. I shouldn't be downloading 500 fucking gigabytes for one game.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't be doing that.
Not to mention,
Like,
that's
you're like, oh, well, you have that much space. You should afford it. I shouldn't have to. That's the point.
okay, if you need to upgrade your hard drive for a $60 game, and you gotta, I gotta get a 4 terabyte hard drive now. Mm-hmm. That's another $100. Now you just paid, $160 for a game.
Even on top of that, like, then you get into like heavy memory management, and stuff, and that pisses me off too.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have to download it. Meaning, even if you buy a physical game and go, I'm gonna want to play this for a while. Like, what if this Call of Duty actually like rings true with some of the classic stuff you liked back in like the PS3 days and stuff? You're gonna be like, I'm gonna keep this around. What if you can't? You know, what if like one day you had a fire and you just missed out on it, but then you remember it like 6 years down the road and PS6 is around. And you're like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and get this. You buy it and they're like, well, we can't let you download this because we don't have a shop that supports it anymore. Or Activision could just say, we don't support it. Period. Even though the shop is a bit widely available.
Oh man.
Like you literally force your game to obsolescence.
Yeah.
Like fucking
they want you to buy
Spyro
it all
did
the
that
fucking
same
time
bullshit
anyways. Yeah.
too. Like, I hated that. I'm like, why couldn't you just... They're like, well, the first game's on it. Yeah, the first game is, but the menu screen isn't.
Yeah.
You have to literally download the menu screen to click the first game.
Yeah.
That is horseshit. Fucking get fucked on that crap. I hate that crap because it renders buying anything physical useless. And people are like, well, it's greener if you go digital. I also don't own my games.
Yeah.
Like, in any form of right.
Or if
like,
they like to George Lucas or shit.
Yeah.
So if you download it and you're like, you know what, I'm not gonna update it. You delete it. You re-download it. Hey, where's that? There's something new that they just updated. They'll just George Lucas it.
Yep.
I'm trying to remember another game that they did that with, because people really wanted to keep the vanilla version, but they updated it with like some weird new character, and they took another character out, which completely like makes the game really weird. But people wanted to keep the original character, but they George Lucas it with some random nobody.
I remember they did that with Ukulele and JonTron's voice work and stuff too.
Yeah.
Like, they did that, and then they just, like, even if you delete it and try to download it, like, even if it's as innocuous as that weird character that was, like, it was just nothing burger to me, but some people took it to a very serious level, but it sets a precedent that they could just change something. They'd be like, oh, it's just a voice. It's just a voice of a complicated character. That character didn't mean anything.
I think it was Destiny.
But when you do that, you know, you set a precedent of what else you can do. So that's why, like, you see people with censorship and stuff too. Mm-hmm. Like, I understand where some of the censorship arguments are. I'm not gonna ever blame people for getting upset for that, but there is ones that you're gonna have to pick the battles to show people, you know, because if somebody's like, oh, it's just a slight shadow, or whatever, normally people are not gonna look at it the same way. Yeah. Whereas stuff like Tokyo Mirage Session, where you add cloudy boobies, which was the weirdest fucking thing.
Yeah, fuck that game.
Like, that was just that was so weird. Why? Like, even the censorship, even some of the censorship was just weird.
Yeah.
Like, it was just the weirdest fucking choices. Like, you made it obvious.
Too. Like, I really wanted to buy it because I was really pissed off that the Wii U version was censored. So I was like, I'll just pass on it. And then they're like, oh, it's coming to the Switch because nobody bought it. And then it turns out they're porting the Wii U version. Why the fuck would you do that?
It was easier. It was easier to drag drop, so they didn't have as many patches to deal with. That's the only reason. That's the only reason.
Change it English text. Like, holy shit, man.
Yeah, that was the only reason. Like, I think it was just the corners they could cut, basically. Like, and again, I don't fault people for complaining about it, because when it was censorship, you can show that there was a region that was not.
Leaving my spicy wings.
You know?
Don't.
But I think, honestly, the Switch port was just out of just sheer convenience. Like, I don't think there was a intentional vendetta to it. Like, even Japan was a little pissed off about that.
Well, I think it was just something lazy for sure. But.
Yeah, it was that one I could almost guarantee you was like 80% lazy. It was just quicker to do that.
Then good. I hope nobody buys it.
Like, that's basically. Well, from what I heard, it sold enough to still pull a profit, but nothing too exciting.
Yeah.
But as far as censorship goes, I don't think Nintendo's the only one that's been doing that shit recently.
Leave my waifus alone. Holy shit. They massacred my waifus. Look what they did to them. And that really pissed me off with Senran Kagura. God damn, man. Like, okay, at first, we were going to get I can't remember which one. It was the Senran Kagura game that was coming, and I was gonna get the PC the PC version and the PS4 version, and then last minute Sony said you got to censor shit.
Oh, I remember that too. That
Oh,
was some horseshit. Like they
that
had to
pissed
delay
me
the
off.
game and stuff too.
Yeah, and was it Marvelous or Xseed said this is gonna fuck us over because
I think the developers themselves said something like that.
yeah, because they just saw a ton of pre-orders be canceled because we wanted spicy wings. You give us our spicy wings.
Did you say garlic ranch?
Oh my god! You want vinegar? Fucking Christ! So that really grind my gears. And then it was this huge. They waited the last minute to tell them you're gonna have to censor. And the game was starting to get printed basically, and they had to tell everybody, yeah, sorry, we're censoring this. If you want to cancel it, that's just please don't cancel it. Basically, is what they said. But the PC version won't be canceled, or the PC version won't be censored. So I bought it on PC, and then Sony came out and said this is going to happen going forward with all these mature fan service games. I don't know. They basically call it the waifu holocaust because they didn't stand with them. Don't mess with the weebs, man. They got money to spend.
Well, that's another thing that like it doubles back to them buying Evo and stuff too. That like I don't think you're gonna see a lot of like waifus getting cut out or something to that point. I think it's gonna be a nothing burger as far as the sexual content goes in Evo, but the way the content control is with Sony, basically will tell you like they're gonna try to cultivate like okay we can only have these type of games on these type of platforms so we can pitch our new Sony Plus Evo like
so creepy though
benefit
like,
and like that's basically what they're doing. I feel like that's going to be the corporate move.
Well,
it's going to be like if you pay for PlayStation Plus whatever for PlayStation 5, you're going to have exclusive access to these tournaments and stuff like that. I could see easily something to that point happening.
What the very like what I see Evo as too, like the scary thing is that I think they're using it as an arm that if you want to play on a big stage, you got to censor your stuff because like at Mortal Kombat 11 got sent. Well, it was too violent, but they took out all the they made the women less sexy or less revealing, and then
the games were like generally just ugly to begin with. Because
yeah.
I'm talking about from my perspective as a Mortal Kombat fan. Mortal Kombat 11 literally looks like somebody took a pile of clay, punched it until it remotely looks like a face, and put it on a body that they punched previously that looks remotely like a body, and called it that way.
But
and that's the thing.
People in half is okay.
As many people keep thinking, oh well, they de-sexified the women. The dudes aren't that great looking either.
Yeah.
Like the dudes, even shirtless, are gross looking. Like even as a straight dude, you can still say, no. Like you know what guys women would find hot. Like you do. Like you know that there like if you see a dude that's like attractive dude, you're like, yeah, that dude probably gets all the women.
SNES, Liu Kang, or nothing. Right.
Yeah. Basically. And it's like, and like that whole thing looks ugly. So I'm not sure if that's intentionally like controlling of the content of the sexual nature, since inherently everything's just ugly.
Well,
just everything.
It came back to bite them in the ass when 11, I think, was too violent, and they had to take it down.
Yeah, they had to tone it down. They added an option to tone it down a little bit.
Oh my god! And then DOA 6 was
the development for that game is pretty fucked up too.
Yeah, they get fucked. And good, they fired the guy who tried to make it, because his idea was just, well, we want to make we think it's too sexual, so we want to make it cooler. We'll just go to a better fighting game. The whole reason why DOA was, why people even batted an eye to DOA was because of the fan service. You all know it, and everybody knows it. And if it wasn't that, everybody would just play Tekken, because Tekken was like the far superior game.
But I'll probably stop right there. The fan service in Mortal Kombat was extremely inexorable, period. People keep trying to say, oh, well, these characters are, like, basically neutered in a sexual manner. The game wasn't that appealing when you even compare it to the games, but, like, if you compare it to, like, Mortal Kombat 8, and they had more revealing clothing and stuff, people keep trying to use that in contrast to Mortal Kombat 11. When you compare it to the other characters to other fighting games at the time that game was released, there was other characters that were just so much easier on the eyes. Period. Mm-hmm. I think what really damaged 11 is that they took a lot of what was like the weird image of Mortal Kombat.
It felt like all this weird sci-fi looking thing
like
now, and
that was always there though. Because they always had Smoke and Cyrax, which were cyborgs since the beginning.
Well, I guess they look more sci-fi.
It's
a weird. I like the old, the 80s metal look.
Yeah, the heavy metal style that they had, like the weird pseudo heavy metal movie thing. Like I feel like that was a really good image for Mortal Kombat because it worked. Because
I agree.
Looking at it, you can associate it with heavy metal and how extreme heavy metal was as a movie, and like. Already partly expect what to get out of it. You know what I mean? Whereas this one, it feels very neutral. Like there's nothing truly Mortal Kombat about it. All the ninjas look like ninjas. They don't look like Mortal Kombat ninjas. They just look like ninjas.
Pain.
You know, like, and I think that's what hurts them the most is they took that image out, and because of that, and they were trying to make it more. Brutal by making things look more realistic. I think inherently, not intentionally, just inherently made characters just less easy on the eyes in general. Because when you're looking at that in contrast to the 80s heavy metal style influence and stuff, you see that it's just not there anymore. And when it's just not there, it doesn't look as exciting anymore. And I think it literally that, along with the weirdly convoluted story in 11, it just falls flat.
Yeah.
And I don't know what's going to happen with Mortal Kombat 12 by this point. Like whether or not they're going to continue this image or they're going to try to like retroactively bring back the heavy metal influence and style. But I think just because of the style change. Also,
I think it's going to look the same, only because it's easier to flip the assets.
Oh, it probably like since they have the pro versions of it that like support the PS4 and Pro and stuff like that. I can definitely see them like improving the assets from that and just kind of like adding a little bit more balls of clay to the face.
Oh man.
And this is coming from somebody who loves Mortal Kombat, so I'm a little pissed off by that. All right, like this is like. Everything just looks ugly.
Well, the thing is, like I said, you either be good or be bad. You can't be bland.
Yeah, don't ever be bland.
Yeah,
don't ever be bland. If you just become and I think that's the problem with Mortal Kombat 11. It's just bland.
Yeah,
it's not like if they were intentionally like bad at doing whatever they're doing, the people would still play it ironically.
Yeah,
but they don't. They had this other vision. They had this other vision of just like showcasing something somewhere that I don't know what the hell they were aiming to showcase, and it's just bad. It's just generally just bland. It's just blah. Like I'm not even excited by the characters they added for DLC, like Rambo and stuff. It's kind of neat, you know, and just in concept, but like I'm not driven to buy that. Like. I would buy Freddy Krueger again, than buy Rambo.
Damn, I gotta really look up on what happened to the original team then for.
Well, Ed Boon's still there. I'm not sure if Tobias is.
Yeah, but it seems like they're more hands off and just kind of like telling people.
Well, I think it's because they're probably now that they're the heads of a company, they're doing a lot more of the background
and
direction and stuff like that. Where when they were under Midway, they were just directors of games.
Yeah. And
I think that's where a lot of it happened. But I think they probably hired a different type of team since 10, because 10 wasn't like this bad, and 8 in the remake was good. Like they were very stylish. They had that image. However, 11 for some reason took such a stark left turn. I don't know what to explain what happened.
I don't know.
But
Always count on the indies to do it. Maybe we'll just make our own where it doesn't suck. And
I don't know. Cool. Like, I'm if I was to make a fighting game, I would try to avoid making human-based fighting games because so many people do it.
No, okay.
Like, I'm not. Like, I want to do stuff that's really unique. That when somebody glances at it, they're gonna be like, "Oh shit, what the hell is those?" You know,
yeah,
like,
that's true.
Like Clay Fighters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, put Clay Fighters next to every other common fighting game right now.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, is that Clay? Is that a snowman?
Yeah.
Is that a banana dude? Like, because that stands out.
Yeah.
Like, I would do something to that point. Also, whoever has Clay Fighters, please release it to somebody who can actually make the game. Again. Please. But I would do something to that point. Like, I wouldn't do anything like super intense for a fighting game. It just wouldn't. But yeah, no. I don't think the quote unquote censorship on Mortal Kombat is anywhere near as egregious to a lot of the stuff that Sony has done and stuff recently. To several of the companies that are developing stuff on their systems right now. Like, I think it was just an inherent change.
Yeah.
That
well, even with, we'll see what happens with Mortal Kombat, because recently they also said no decapitations. I guess like Demon Slayer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. In the anime, people get decapitated like crazy. That's the whole thing of killing the demons is you cut their heads off. But the fighting game came out and they said, we got a new policy saying no decapitations. So there's no decapitations in the fighting game. So what's Mortal Kombat gonna do?
They're gonna they're gonna work around it a couple times and make things brutal. But the thing is, in Evo, you're not allowed to do fatalities either.
What?
Not because of content.
Mm-hmm.
It's because it takes too much fucking time.
No, okay.
It wastes time.
Okay.
So they're like, we don't want to sit here and watch this over and over and over again. Do not do it.
Okay.
That's basically what it is.
Okay.
And because when you think about it, if you're watching 10, 12, 13 different rounds of different people and they all keep doing it, you got like a J.R. Tolkien level where like all this content could have been cut and I could have just enjoyed a nice smooth movie.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically why. And I'm not sure if the decapitations falls into that either, but you're not allowed to do brutalities and fatalities because of that nonsense.
No, okay.
It just eats too much time.
Yeah. Oh. Shadow Colossus. Okay. Well,
But step back to... I'm not done shitting on Sony yet.
No, I'm not.
Bring that back.
Get back here.
Get back here.
You're not done here. Well,
You had your fun Mortal Kombat. Get the fuck back out.
I don't know where... So when the game came out, I heard a lot of good praises that it still did really well. Maybe it didn't sell well, but during the
received well. It was
yeah,
critically acclaimed.
it was critically acclaimed. A lot of people really liked it, but maybe it sold well that they didn't want to make a PS3 version because everybody was saying.
I will say this, because of Ico, I avoided Shadow of Colossus.
Yeah, no,
Because I
blame
hated
you.
Ico.
Yeah, I don't blame you.
I fucking
heard about
hated
that
that.
too.
And people are like, "You never played it?" I'm like, "No," because Ico is like, "This is how bad games can get." I'm like, I don't want to do that.
But
Leave
it's
me
art.
alone.
But it's art.
It's art. Yeah, just like fucking Fez, right? But like I just didn't want to play it. Like I wasn't. Like somebody finally convinced me to play it, and Shadow Colossus is actually pretty fucking phenomenal.
Yeah.
I will. I regret not playing it originally.
Yeah. Well, the nice thing, it was the first game to actually tell people you could just have bosses. You don't really need stages and all these
Dungeons
and stuff like that. It's like
minions and stuff like that. Yeah.
yeah, it was 8 bosses. Have at it. That's pretty cool.
There's a company called like Knight of the Sword or something like that. Strength of the Sword or something to that point. It's an indie studio that kind of has like a weird. It's basically called boss rush mode. Basically, you only have bosses.
Mm-hmm.
You're not fighting minions and stuff like that. Each one has like boss mechanics, and you're fighting. It's basically like sword fighting and stuff. I need to check on that game again because that game sounds very familiar in the same concept, where you don't need all these like minions and stuff. You don't need these quests and stuff. You just fight bosses.
Yeah. But with what's happening with Shadow of the Colossus is everybody told them to port it to the PS3. So at the very last second of the PS3's life, they ported it and they're like, "Oh, we were just giving you what you wanted. Here's the PS4 version." Like, "Oh, aren't we the greatest game? It's doing so well that we'll release The Last Guardian." And The Last Guardian was shit.
You know what's funny? Like, now that you mention it, I completely forgot The Last Guardian even existed.
Well,
I'm not even gonna fucking lie.
I
I remember it was being hammered on just hammered onto me all the time. Like, you're gonna love this game. And once it came out, people were like, "Don't say anything because I don't want anybody to realize I was wrong."
Well, it didn't look like it was anything all that impressive. That was the kind of the issue because, like, a kid with his monster and you're just kind of climbing things. And,
That's basically hurdy-gurdy on the PS2. Where the hell is it?
yeah. We're just giving you what you want. Yeah. But Last Guardian was just, you could tell it was done by a different team for sure because the kind of things that they demoed in the E3 for Last Guardian, it seemed like it was doing something completely different. And then when the completed PS4 version came out, it was just like you climbing things and kind of doing puzzles with your dog. It's really weird. You could just sense the tone.
Remember Catherine? Let's water down the colors and make it boring.
But yeah, you could just tell that there was something. The tone was completely different from the original E3 trailer to what it is now. But maybe that kind of, I'm thinking maybe that kind of soured the relation with Sony. So, but I don't know. They could have just keep shilling Shadow of the Colossus 2 like you guys always do, and just be like, here's a new one until we
honestly, I'm
tired.
pretty sure if people if Sony just regurgitated Shadow of the Colossus repeatedly, like just sequels and stuff, people would not even argue.
Yeah.
Like, it'll probably be like, well, Sony needs to do new IPs. Here's Shadow of the Colossus 4. Never mind.
Well, it was, they were, like, people were so happy that it was kind of like The Legend of Zelda for Sony.
It was a Legend, to me, it felt like a Legend of Zelda that wasn't Legend of Zelda. It had its own flavor, and I think that's where people keep forgetting about, like, because I remember people complaining that we needed a mature Zelda, and this is on all markets basically. And then they're like, "Here's Darksiders," which is basically mature Zelda.
Yeah.
And they're like, "No, I don't want that. I want Zelda that's mature, but on the system I prefer because I don't want to buy a Nintendo system because they're just being fucking lazy."
Yeah.
Like, they don't, like, if you want to play Zelda, play Zelda. But when Shadow of the Colossus came out, it was basically Sony's Zelda because it had a little Sony flair. And people were like, "Oh, it's so great," and this, that. A lot of people, like, regurgitated on it because it was such an art house game. You will never understand. The game was good. I will say that. It was actually pretty amazing. I enjoyed it because I feel great shame not playing it earlier just because of how bad Ico was.
Yeah.
Like, Ico was garbage. But I love Shadow of the Colossus.
Yeah.
I would buy that again. I would buy that, and I would buy just even a fucking remake or up-res version of Legend of Dragoon, which Sony also is like, I don't remember what that is either. You know?
I don't know. I think somebody find the original creator to Shadow of the Colossus, make your own Shadow of the Colossus.
I don't know. Watch them pull a full Inafune.
Oh, God.
Like, I think the only one that has even remotely gotten as close to what his original vision used to be was Igavania. With the Castlevania designer.
No, okay.
Iga. And like when he made Bloodstain and stuff, like, it's not the best out there, but it's close to what he does anyway.
Yeah.
And I think after these lessons he's learning with Bloodstain, I could see them making Bloodstain 2 that much more phenomenal.
Okay.
Like, I honestly say this right now. I have hopes of how good Bloodstain 2 would be.
Okay.
I like if somebody's like, "Here's Bloodstained 2." There's only two of those type of Kickstarters that I would ever say I look forward to a lot of what's going to happen in the future.
Mm-hmm.
It's Ukulele 2 and Bloodstained 2 because they did a lot of stuff that was very bare bones. It was very like there's hit mishaps, but things were functional. Things were not like inherently bad, except for like the weird water mechanics in Bloodstained on the Switch because apparently that was dumb. But I could say right now, Bloodstained 2 would, I'd be hyped for it. I like even just announcing, yeah, we're developing. I'm like, oh, let's do this. You know, I'd be down.
Yeah.
So, but no, I think like with him as a creator with the Shadow Colossus and stuff, I don't know, like just seeing the pattern, seeing how seeing how Yugi Naka just did Balan Wonderland, and Balan Wonderland is exactly what Balan Wonderland is.
Yeah, they kind of need the original team too.
Oh
Even
my
with
god, that just tells you that the games are more than their creator. Like
Yeah.
that should tell everyone by this point
Well, just
that
look at
that's
George
how
Lucas.
that is.
Everybody thought that he was a mastermind, and then
Then Jar Jar Binks came out.
well, I think without the original editors who pieced the original trilogies together, without them, I don't think Star Wars, like, I bet you episode 1, 2, and 3 would have been as good as 3, 4, and 5 if George Lucas would have just brought back the old editors to put the movie together.
I don't know, but even if they put the movie together in the episode 1 was garbage.
Yeah.
Like the only thing that there was two things that came out of episode 1 that were even remotely good. The pod racing scene and the video game based off that pod racing scene.
Yeah.
That is it. And I am shocked that even Disney hasn't went, I'm going to go ahead and milk this son of a bitch dry.
I know, Jon Favreau, please just make a pod racing Disney Plus series. That would be so fucking badass. It would be so cool. Jon Favreau could do it. I know he could do it. Oh my god.
I don't watch the Mandalorian, but I'd give that a watch.
Yeah.
I would definitely be like, I want to see what fucking what's his face Savolba is doing now. You know, like just
Yeah.
I want to see stuff like that. Or Biggs or whatever his name is. A weird, long, lanky, four-handed toothpick dude. Because that was the one I was stuck with all the time when I was a kid. But yeah, no, I don't know. Like, even if the dude left, he would need a team that resonates with that Shadow Colossus.
Yeah.
And honestly, I could see a lot of that team just make their own Shadow Colossus without him.
Yeah.
That would actually be kind of cool.
Yeah.
I've seen concepts like maybe 4 or 5 years ago on Kickstarter that was very similar to that. And I think it was like called Golem, but don't quote me on that. But there was something to that point where I'm like, I would definitely give this a go now.
Oh, okay.
Now that I've experienced Shadow of the Colossus.
But whatever. We have Breath of the Wild, so that'll
That ain't that good enough for me.
that'll tie us down until we get some
Here's an
other legend.
opinion y'all are gonna hate. I don't like Breath of the Wild.
Burn him. Burn him alive.
Like, I don't. Like, it's good, like, in a general game concept sense. But,
Yeah.
like,
It's not Zelda.
it's Zelda at the same time it's not. It's the weird mixture in between. But it's at the same time, the world is so fucking empty. Like, it is just so empty. Like,
Well, you can tell
I
where they
can't-
cut corners for sure. Like,
yeah, they can see that. And then, of course, they're like, would you like to... Which favorite encampment was yours? The brown bokoblins, the red bokoblins, or the revenge of the brown bokoblins?
But I get just seeing the cutscenes and like what the game is. You could tell that it was, just seeing the cutscenes. You could see where it was like you were building Hyrule, and then Link gets injured, and then you wake up, and that's kind of like the part that you're playing right now is that last part of the game, which would be. I hope they go back and just say, okay, here's what.
I
Breath of the
don't
Wild's
think they're
supposed
going
be.
to. I
No.
think they covered it with that Age of Calamity Warriors game.
Ah, okay, yeah.
But I think a lot of the concepts they probably had are probably going to be molded into Breath of the Wild 2.
Mm-hmm.
and we just haven't seen what that is yet.
Oh, okay.
At least that's from me. So, but yeah, Sony buy an Evo. I'm I'm not even cautiously optimistic. I am just really curious of which way they're gonna ruin it. Because honestly, I honestly do not see a good thing coming from this.
I think it's gonna be this family friendly type of thing.
I think it's gonna be highly curated. Any of the gory or shit posty platforms, they're just not gonna be covered. They're gonna be like, oh, those tournaments, they're happening over here where nobody sees it. Like I could see that happening.
Yeah.
And I see that like because of that, their pots, like their prize pools and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them getting very big. Which,
well, no, I think the sponsors are gonna be happy and they're gonna make it bigger.
yeah,
So
they're gonna do that, and then of course Sony's gonna make more money off of it. But the coverage of like smaller games like Rivals of Ether, Rushdown Revolt, and stuff like that, they're gonna just die on the wayside because why play those games when I could pitch and sell the exclusive Super Street Fighter V and Mortal Kombat and Tekken and whatever flavor of the month, like probably Guilty Gear Zerd or something to that point too.
but Guilty Gear is anime-y. I don't know if we're gonna get it.
It's Guilty Gear. Like it has some heavy metal and stuff. It'll hook. So if anyone can make it hook, it'll be Sony.
I don't know, man.
No,
they hate anime.
They probably won't be able to do it with Blaze Blue, but
No.
I could see them doing it with Guilty Gear, because Guilty Gear is just enough.
Don't bend your knee, Access. Don't bend your knee.
They're going to, because they know, like, because the platforms are going to get there's going to be a wider range of platforms they can get on now,
Mhm.
because they're going to move like Rivals of Ether, Smash Brothers, and all the other other fighting games and stuff. Them's Fighting Herds, another one, might not actually get a good position either. They're just going to be tossed to the wayside because Sony doesn't need things that only 100,000 people will watch. They need something that millions of people will watch, and that's what Sony does. They're not going to cater. They're not going to like cater to the smaller development and try to boost their development up and get their coverage up, because that'll be phenomenal for any of them just to even get that type of coverage. I don't see that happening. I can see them going, oh, well, if they bought the premium pass, then they'll be able to watch you. Otherwise, they're just going to watch Super Street Fighter V's tournaments. That's what they're going to do, because they can sell that.
Game. Make your own fighting tournament. We got to go back
They
to
do.
roots.
They,
Go back to
there's
roots. I don't know what
several
else is
there's
to-
several other fighting game conventions out there.
Yeah.
Like there is. It's just that Evo is the biggest. That's why people are like, it's Evo or nothing. It's not Evo or nothing. There is many. And if you watch so many other like fighting games and stuff and watch their origins, there was one that was covered on Action Esports a while back, covering what's it called? Lethal League Blaze.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of their drive is coming from, like, I think they call it N4 gaming or something like that.
Mhm.
It's a tournament system. It's a competitive scene, and I feel like those areas are going to start to grow bigger with the smaller indie studios, and they're going to eventually start rivaling the desire of bigger platforms like Evo, and Evo's going to be kind of hitting us like going to get stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Yeah.
In order to do something to shake it up, because something like N4 is probably going to come up and start slowly eclipsing them, because they have stuff from like Rivals Ether, Lethal League Blaze, and stuff like that. They're going to start gaining a lot more momentum there, and that's where a lot of people are going to try to want to be.
Oh, okay.
Because Evo is going to eventually be the like
The
how
clean,
everyone, like basically
sterilized.
how everyone wants to be the million subscriber YouTuber now. Like everybody wants to be, I want a million subscribers on YouTube. Like that's what everybody wants, but they don't realize that there's so many people who only have like 10,000, and they just roll out what they can.
Yeah.
That's it. And that's just how it's going to be. But nobody wants to watch the one with the 10,000 subscribers. They only want to watch the ones with the million. They want to watch the PewDiePies. They want to watch the Epic Meal Times. They don't want to watch Steady Crafting. They don't want to watch Like just in YouTube, like they don't want to watch them because they're not as big.
But that defeats the whole purpose of like, just what the whole grassroots thing is really really nice to where you have these small communities just coming together to play.
Yeah, but Sony's not that type of person. Their brand. That's the thing that pisses me off the most. Is they know their brand, and I know that they know their brand. They know that they can sell stuff off brand alone. Like that's the reason why they do the things they do. So I know that they're gonna try to pitch, hey, we run this now. Therefore, Street Fighter, Guilty Gear, Mortal Kombat, and like other major ones, they're gonna be like, this is our territory, and they're gonna use it as an angle to like sell PlayStation Plus and stuff like that to them. People are like, hey, if you play this, you have a chance to win a trip to the next Evo and all that other crap.
Yeah.
Well, as smaller companies, again, like I said, they're gonna struggle. They're gonna like them's fighting herds is gonna try to find a new niche and stuff because they're gonna struggle at Evo.
Yeah.
I don't think they're gonna struggle. Period. I don't think them losing out on Evo is going to be the death of them. I really don't. I think it's a wasted opportunity, but it's a wasted opportunity on Sony's end.
Yeah.
Like that's what I think is going to happen. And then they're just going to move over to somewhere else, and those communities are going to start trying to build from there.
Okay. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see where it goes. This will be their first year under Sony?
Technically, it'll be their first year this year under Sony. But I don't think it'll be something that Sony's going to be in full control of this year because of how soon it happens. But I could be wrong.
Okay.
Sony could easily just put their dick in the air and swivel a little bit, and then guess what? It's going to be ours now.
Yeah.
Like that's where I stand. I don't see much changing this year. And I could see people going, oh, okay, so it's going to stay the same. So that's really cool. And, like, keep it there. And then the next year...
Well, they're already clamping down already. Like, they're already clamping down hard on just people's behaviors already. Mm-hmm. Even with, like, when DOA 6, they try to be, like, really fan servicey. And you just see this one guy constantly complaining, oh, what you're doing is you can't do this. And then they kept showing off DOA 6. And then the guy came back, oh... you guys can't do this, and then they keep showing the game, and then they just kept nagging them, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
I don't know.
What was it? Was it a dude nagging on Twitter?
Huh?
Or was it the dude nagging on Twitter or something?
No, it was like the moderators watching them show off. Yeah, it was
then
like
he's just a whiny little bitch, and he can't really get much with the ladies anyway. So I'm not worried about it.
Yeah, I think it's also just like they're so scared for their sponsors, like.
Yeah, and I think that's what's really hurting a lot of people too. Is like people are like same thing with YouTube. Like people are worried about what content they're going to add because they don't want certain advertisers to just pull out and then they lose all their monetary gains and stuff.
Screw them. Like,
meanwhile, there's people that are like, I'm going to say what I want, and these three companies brought this to you, and whatever, what is it like?
Yeah, screw you. We'll just
heat water with Casket or whatever.com. Prepare for the apocalypse with PlayCasket.com.
And it's just like, well, then we'll just promote your rival. Then we'll just we'll just promote your competition.
Yeah, I'd do it out of spite. I'd just do it out of spite for a while. And then I'm like, why am I so big? Why is PlayCasket always constantly referenced in my emails? What is going on here? Like, they don't even know what YouTube is. They just like start getting bonuses. Like, what's going on? Why is more people buying silver from me? Like, some stupid crap like that. It'd be hilarious. But yeah, no, I'm literally on Sony. I don't see much changing with Sony right now until next year. I think that's when we'll see a lot of what Sony's foothold is going to be with Evo. I think the plans and stuff in place for Evo this year has already been made. Mm-hmm. So I think we're not going to see much until next year. And then so people are going to be like, "Oh, Sony can allow, Smash Brothers and this and that. This is cool." So it's everything, though they're all going to be excited. And then suddenly the information for 2022, they're going to be like, "What? Why don't we know much about 2022?" and they're like they open up pre-orders and stuff, so everybody's hyping up because who's gonna be next and all that, and then they go, oh well, we just sold all this. Here's our rundown, and it'll be like the most bare bones of what they curated perfectly, and they're like, what the hell is this shit? And they'll have already bought tickets, and so it's gonna be like,
Oh man.
They're gonna that's exactly what's gonna happen. They're gonna be like, we apologize for this. Here, have a $20 gift certificate to PlayStation Store, even though like it means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Like just like getting the $10 credit on Amazon, it'll only be it's only applicable on carrots. I'm like, I only bought video games with this stuff, and only red carrots. Thank you for shopping at Amazon, jackasses. So yeah, no, I that's what I can see with Sony, because right now Sony's just whatever the fuck Sony's doing is obviously not the smartest thing, and they're thinking that this is the most brilliant thing that they ever have done. And I think Japan studio, then the closures and the molding them into the other studio is very reflective of that.
Yeah, that really pissed me off too when the CEO was like, "Oh no, we still have tons of plans for Japan. Japan studio fucking got closed." Yeah,
unprecedented partnership. I think with that stunt right there, I think Sony all but just has given the Japan market to Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like, I can almost guarantee it by this point.
Yeah.
Like, and as much as people are like, oh, well, Sony's better than this, I don't care. Like, obviously the major markets matter. Like, the major, who's buying more of whatever.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry doesn't matter if it's not pulling its weight. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Whereas like Monster Hunter, it matters because it's pulling its weight and then some. So, but we'll see how that goes, man. Like, I'm having poor bets on it, but I'm not betting something's gonna happen this year.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the plans have already been set.
Yeah.
But then we're gonna just see the shit sandwich that's gonna happen in 2022, and all I can say right now is it might look a lot like Miiverse with everybody crying over stupid crap on Sony next year. They're gonna be like, "What? You promised me gold? No, gold plates." So, but that is all the time we have today. So I'd like to thank you all for listening, and if you like, go ahead and subscribe to our channels, and hit a like and let us know what we do, and if you want to hear more of this. And thank you guys for listening, and you guys have a great day.
Also, don't forget that we will. We're not just bashing on Sony. We'll get the other guys too. So.
Yeah, Nintendo's number's next. Maybe eventually.
Well, we'll see what
I have.
We'll see
I have a list. As much as I love Nintendo, I still have a fucking list. So,
thanks, guys.
Have a good one.
See ya.
Bye.